Hey guys, welcome back to the Raw Uncovered Truth of the Awakened Soul with Nicole. And I just want to touch base on, oh man, I'm already itchy. I just wanted to touch base on kind of remembering that you have to unlearn everything in order to relearn who you truly are. I think sometimes we kind of get lost and not really lost. I think the term would be more like we forget that we have to unlearn, everything. And sometimes that does take time, right? And things will play out again and again until we realize that we're looking at it from the wrong point of view, that we need to unlearn that pattern and relearn, we're supposed to be looking at things, the way that we are meant to find our true selves. Hopefully that made sense. I don't even know. Um, so I'm like sitting here trying to be as comfortable as possible to like kind of bring you like the real deal here. So, there's a lot that, right? I mean, we grew up, we were told that our imaginations were wild and we had to tame them. I will be the first person to say that while unrolling a lot of what I've unrolled since like the end of March, I can tell you that my imagination as a kid was kind of spot on, right? I mean, we were told to shut that down. Your mind is like out of here, whatever the case may be. We go to school, we learn to shut, certain things down. Although I always tried to keep an open-mindedness about me, especially even as a kid, because I was like, so like I don't belong here. Like I said that like as a kid to myself, and I was like, was I adopted? Do I not belong? I don't belong here. Like I do not belong here. I like really stressed that over the years, like to myself, and like I wouldn't sleep. There would be nights where I wouldn't sleep, and I was like even I would say as young as like 7. And, I was like, I can't, because I'm not supposed to be here. Like, why am I here? It's like, what am I doing here? It became a thing. So anyway, moving forward, like, 30 something years, later, and obviously now it all makes sense. So what I did want to address is, yeah, so that crazy creative brain that had, your imagination. Well, and I'm sure this will happen to many of you as you unroll these nice higher frequency timelines, especially if you're going as far back as, off Earth timelines as well. So I realized that a lot of the things that I would like see or daydream about or dream about or just have in my imagination, right? Were all real. And like taking the time to actually realize that they were all real is something totally different, right? Because you're just like, oh my God, that's that's like crazy. Um, but it's true, right? So the more that you sit with that, the more that you realize, wow, these visions that I had as a child like are legit spot on, right? Obviously, like they were off the charts back then, but like now you're just like, oh, yeah, now I see it. Now I get it. Um, so take that into consideration. Also, the breadcrumbing. I don't know if it was written in your contract, but I personally wrote in a lot of breadcrumbing. There was things that I like was fascinated with the Ewoks. I was fascinated with Star Wars people. The Ewoks, the Alf, My Favorite Martian. I think was like, yeah, My Favorite Martian was Uncle Martin. I mean, it was way older than me, but like it used to be on TV and I used to catch reruns. Bewitched, same thing, way older than me, but used to catch reruns. I Dream of Jeannie, obsessed. Again, way older than me, but used to catch, the repeats. Anything that was like out of the ordinary, Thundercats. I was an 80s kid. Thundercats to me, everybody was like, "Oh, how could cats be, in this thing?" To me, I was like, "Oh, this is normal." Like this is which when you think about it, right, it dates back to the Lyron era. Yeah, there were thousands of Thundercats running missions all over the place. But like my younger self was like, "Oh, hey, cool, like it's no biggie. This this is, this is great. This reminds me of home." Um And I even thought that back then. I don't know if I mentioned Alf, but Alf, oh my God, between Alf and the Ewoks, probably like around the same age time that I saw them. I mean, obviously the Ewoks were out way before I was born, but like I started watching Star Wars because my mother was obsessed with it at a very young age. So was obsessed with the Ewoks. Always thought like they were like the best thing. And then when the TV show Alf came out, I thought the same thing. So if you are around my age or if you have, like even see them, like now, recently when you were younger and you had the same feeling, it's because they kind of mirror the image of the Elorians. So Elorians, let's get into that for a little hot second, are these beings, light beings that kind of hang with you in the galactic phase. Let's just say that the galactic phases of your life, your lifetimes there, that carry a very high frequency of joy. So they bring joy, they bring laughter, and they could literally, ooh, and my crown's buzzing like as I'm saying this. So they could like literally be a small size, or they could be huge, like Chewbacca, for instance. They bring in lots of joy. Kind of resembles, let's just say, you could say that the closest thing to an Elorian in this lifetime here are dogs. Um, Let that sit for a little bit. So anyway, so moving on, like there was, tons of breadcrumbs, and I'm sure like once you start unrolling things and you look back at your life, there will be many, 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 many things. Um, I mean, I could go on and on with mine, but I mean, let's just leave you with those examples, and feel free to comment because I would love to hear, somebody else and their breadcrumbs as well. And those were just from when I was like little. So anyway, so basically back to the drawing board is everything that you were taught to, disregard, not pay attention to, shut down, not acknowledge. I don't even know how many like different ways I could say it, but like all of these things, like you have to unlearn in order to be able to remember and activate like what your true self is, like who your true self is. It is not as easy sometimes as it should be, right? Because you're so, as humans, we're so conditioned to patterns, right? And we've been trained and basically, wrapped in distortion the majority of our lives, right? So, like, it starts from when you're a kid and your imagination is too high. Then you go to school and they shut down even more. And then, it's just the ridiculousness in school, right? The structure, the this, the that, like, everything is just, there's no more fun time, there's no more whatever. Um, just rules, regulations. I mean, I can name a million gazillion things out in the world right now, like the way that relationships should look like, your career should look like, what successful is defined as. I mean, there's like a million religion, which I am, but anyway, like there's tons of things out there that wrap you in distortion. And here you are, right, awakening. And again, if you're with me and you're vibing with me, you're most likely awakened, but in a higher awakening process, and you're just like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on? Um, so you have that, but like you're still, there's sometimes that there are things, the distortion patterns that come in, that keep coming in because you're so used to that as a human, right? You're so acclimated to that. So it's like you're like, oh, that's not the way I think anymore. That's not the way I see things anymore. And you have to remind yourself that's not, how you view things anymore. And the more that you do that, the more it gives the space for you to remember, even more, which is pretty cool. It's literally you have to unlearn yourself to relearn who you truly are. And I know like a lot of people stress that all the time, but it's the fact that it's true. And I think sometimes we forget that during the process, right? So even when, let's say this month, which I keep referring to as Integration May, right? So even in Integration May, with all the integration coming, with all the clearing, with all the activations, I mean, there's just so much going on in May that there is like a little second of a breakdown, or you're not understanding something, or you're wanting to know like why you can't relate to anything anymore, it's because you unlearned the wrong way and now you're relearning your way, your right way, the right frequency, the right alignment, the right vibration, the right frequency, however you want to, describe it for yourself. But like it takes time. So like, during this month, and maybe this, will hit a certain collective after this month, and they might be, going through this in June. So, these things are timeless, obviously. If it resonates, it resonates. If not, it may resonate later. If not, it may not resonate at all. To each his own. I don't know, like how else to say that. But anyway, for those that resonate, um, you you really do sometimes can like really get lost in everything that's going on, because again, you are having all of these awakenings, right? You're having all of these activations, you're having all these remembrances, and you're still stuck in like a 3D physical aspect, right? Which again, I don't really like to call it 3D. I guess the physical aspect right now, the matrixy aspect. And the balancing act, and I stress that a lot, in my videos is the balancing act, because I do it every day. Like I will be off somewhere unrolling something or sitting in a council meeting, and then 5 seconds later, like somebody's screaming at me because somebody ate the rest of the chips. Like these are just things that like happen, and I'm like, okay, and I have to deal with that. So yeah, and the same thing goes for any situation. It could be the dog has to be walked, like you're in like a middle of a download, and like the dog is like, I have to go out like right now, or your job's demanding something. And actually, let's skip to jobs. So, if you found yourself like kind of bugging out around your job lately, and you're like, oh my God, I'm done, I want to quit. Possibly because you're not aligned with that anymore. And yeah, you could possibly just up and quit. I mean, you could do whatever you want. The universe is not going to leave you hanging. But again, you have to feel what's right in your body. And I can't stress this enough. And I stress this also every episode I think that I do record, is that your body knows what to do. Your body holds all the answers. Your body holds all the frequency alignments. Your body knows. So if it feels right to quit that job, then go quit that job. If it feels right to leave that situation, that relationship of any kind, business, counterparts, anything, right? If that roommates, whatever it is, if even family members, right? If that in your body feels aligned with you, and your body's like, that's it, we're done. That's it, you're done. Like don't second guess it. Don't start second guessing your intuition. Just say, okay, like I hear you, and let's go. So back to unlearning, right? So there's so many ways to unlearn. Unlearn and waking up to your true self is like never ending, right? I mean, and then like once you think you unlearn something, you watch somebody like especially if you live with somebody, you watch them and you're like, oh my God, like how did you not get the memo, that this is not right anymore? Or just walking out into the world. Listen, if you're drained, right? Okay, let's have an example here. If you're feeling good, right? And you're like, okay, I have to go to the supermarket, and run to the supermarket or Target or anywhere for that matter, just like out and about, and all of a sudden you become like you get back to the house and you're like extremely either tired, hungry, and like craving like chips and like all this dense, heavy stuff. That's because you probably just cleared something and you picked up on like somebody's divorce in aisle 37. Like it doesn't like if this is what you're doing and you don't realize that you're doing it yet, especially my light workers, my grid workers, my star seeds, this is what you're doing. You are clearing energy and you don't even realize it. So if you used to go to yoga and you can't sit in yoga anymore, if you went to spin, but you can't sit in spin class anymore, if you went to any class, okay, and you can't sit in class anymore, it's because you're absorbing and clearing everyone else's shit while you're there. So no, it is not fun. So just don't go and hang back for a little bit and maybe rejoin a little bit further down the line. But that's what you're doing. You're clearing out, everybody else's crap. It's like an ongoing, it's an ongoing what's the word I'm looking for? Automatic thing that that you're doing because you're so activated right now. I actually just wanted to jump on and talk about like how it really truly, is all about, again, I'm going to stress the unlearning of what you've been programmed to learn, all the stuff that's been wrapped in distortion, wrapping you in distortion, even, from a young age, and really relearning who you truly are, your morals, your values, your boundaries, and being able to let go and not hold the attachment to things that are done, and that goes according, not according. I mean that goes with attachments to people as well. And yes, if you're in, I mean, listen, I said this months ago, 2025 was going to be the year that was like 10 years wrapped up into one. It was going to be a major, huge game changer, right? So counterparts were falling. Like if you were in in a marriage, in any type of relationship that didn't belong, it was breaking this year. This year was the time where it's going, gone. As long as you go with it and let it go and not fight to keep it, you were going to, yep, exactly. So if you were watching me, that kind of just proved it. If you were listening to me, I have no idea what it's gonna say. It was kind of going to just cut off, no matter how long you were in that relationship for, no matter how long you were in business for, no matter how long you were in that, with that company for, no matter how long you held on to that old t-shirt, that was your favorite, gone, sneakers, gone, like all of these things that don't align with your frequency are dropping out this year. If they didn't drop out already. Some of us are like way ahead of the game here and have nothing left, literally, to drop out. But some of you guys still have, some things to, like not to let go of. I was gonna say, it's to let go and just move on to a higher version, one that's more aligned with you. Let's touch base on counterparts for a second. It's so funny that like I had posted a video about counterparts and I got so many negative likes on it, I think, and I'm like, oh well, these are the people who think your divine counterpart is this most romantic thing on the face of this earth, which again, all power to you. Yes, there'll probably be romance. I'm not saying that there's not, but divine counterparts are coming together for a reason. It's to build something, it's to create something, it's to work off of one another. It's literally a balanced divine union that accelerates the both of you. Right. So it's you're doing a mission. If you're not on the divine counterpart, you know, line of frequency, then that's okay. And you could, be with a soulmate and you could be with a twin flame if that's, what you're called to. It doesn't mean that, like you are meant to be like have a huge mission. You're just meant to play your role. Everybody's meant to play the role that they're meant to play. Um, in this world. There's a lot of also, soulmate relationships falling off. Twin flames are so on the back burner these days. I don't even know where they stand, nor do I actually personally care anymore. But whoever is not stepping up, to the other counterpart is going bye-bye. And somebody else is coming in to be aligned with you, to reach you on that highest frequency in order to move forward and to continue the mission that you guys are, that you originally came here to do, but now it's a you guys thing, right? So it's your divine counterpart, your partner in crime, your match, your power couple vibes. Those are things that are coming into alignment. Again, nothing is going to happen if you're not aligned with yourself. So think about that. If you still have work to do, again, we're always evolving and always working on ourselves. But if you have work to do to get you to that spot where you're ready for divine counterparts, if that's where you're at, then one will be, aligned with you. If there's still work to do, then there's not going to be one that's aligned with you. Also take into consideration because the masculine collective is shifting some very nicely, right? There are some that are love watching them step into their divinity, and there are others that are falling off, way off. Same thing with the divine feminines, guys. So, it goes both ways. But if that's the case, because there's such a split right now and it's going to continue to split, there can be a little bit of a delayment, right? Delayment? Is that even a word? That could, yeah, maybe. I don't, whatever. There could be a little bit of a delay because everything has to recalibrate in order to find you somebody who's actually aligned with you because that original counterpart is not holding their end of the bargain and they got to go. They got to drop out. Um, so let's talk about being able to detach, right? Detachment doesn't mean that you have to exile somebody, doesn't mean that you have to hate because there really is no hate on this level. Um, there's no hating, there's no regret, there's no regret. What's the other one? I don't even know them anymore because I don't even, there's no nothing, right? It's you're literally just detaching. It's like you could love that person and still let them go. You could still have like these deep feelings, and be like, okay, I know that the connection goes way back, but they're not stepping forward. So you got to detach and you got to let it go. Doesn't mean that you shut yourself down. Doesn't mean anything. It just means that you're able to stay in your sovereignty, right? You stay in your power and you're just able to disconnect, which is becoming a very, very huge thing. It's a very big aspect of play right now. It's like a key player aspect. It's like a key, damn it. Anyway, it's like a thing. It's like that is the chess piece play. I don't know. I don't even play chess, so I can't even use it as an example at all. Um, it's just like it's like a key player in the field right now. Is the detachment. Again, you could love, you could still care for, you could same thing with like any situation, a person, a place, a thing. You just have to be able to detach and stay in your power and just not let it go. As far as old things coming back into play, I know I touched on this either last video or the video before that, or probably every video, but seems to be a reoccurring thing this month that things are coming back in. So let's just say that, for instance, as soon as you jump, as soon as your frequency jumps, and you were in a twin flame connection, or you were in a soulmate connection, or you were in a situation, in a karmic situation. Well, I don't even know if karmics come into play anymore. But anyway, any situation that is no longer aligned with you, that situation feels that you quantum jumped, and they need to, like, they feel even more of the space, right? And they will reach out one more time. Doesn't mean you have to respond, right? And if you do respond, remember that, it's your power, you're in your power. And that's the whole point, to stay sovereign to yourself during these situations. It's also feel how your body responds. So I could definitely say that I've gotten to the point, and it's taken me a while, that this one situation doesn't even phase my nervous system anymore. And I was like, oh wow, that was awesome. Like it only took like how many dark nights of the soul of that, and how many headaches, and how many downloads, and how many unrolls, and how many alignments, for my body to be like, eh, but it's true. Like it takes time. Things take time. Although time itself is just really irrelevant. It's just it takes it does take time for your physical body to catch up with your soul, your mind, because everybody, everything knows. And it's just like your physical body takes a little bit of time to catch up. I kind of know that I'm rambling on in this video. I think I'm kind of meant to just throw things out there. There's really no like subject I wanted to talk about so much, and I was like breaking out the book again, writing all the stuff down, but as always, I don't think we're meant to have any normal conversations anymore until after May integration is over. Um, I wanted to touch on that, the counterparts, the detachment. I think I covered that. I want to thank everybody who has liked and subscribed and shared these videos so far. So thank you. I totally appreciate that. And if there's anything specific that you guys want, please let me know. And I will definitely touch on those subjects. Minakmo hu a aratu, somino akura hana a ami. Hina a araktu asinu amuna ha aki. Simani hakura, simani hakura, somino, somina ha akura, somina para a kati. So there you have it. There goes your little light language transition for today. It was more like Octorian. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, that's a wrap for today. Peace out, guys. Until next time. Bye. Oh, delicious stuff. Sweet.